Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Today I'm going to be taking a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse DC Classics The Flash Jay Garrick, and I am so excited to have this. I got this, Mr. Freeze, and Supergirl so far from Figurine for All, and I don't know how they got them all in, but they got them, the Hush figures, you know, like all those in stock, and love it. Absolutely love that site now, and I'm definitely going to be looking into that site a lot more. So I love Jay Garrick. Jay Garrick has always had a special place in my heart. I don't know why. He's someone that I don't really know that much about either. I love his look for the Flash. I think he's awesome, and I love the JSA. So this is really cool to have, and I like that he can fit in with your classic and your modern stuff. And there's actually some very light modifications that you could do to this figure as well in order to make him a completely classic one, and I know a lot of people might be interested in that. So without further ado, let's actually get into what he comes with. And pretty much everything that you see on him right now is what he comes with. He has the running hands and the fists, and he has opposite sides for those, and they also have these pads on them as well, if the camera will focus here. These pads, so like his hands seem like armored and whatnot, which is pretty cool. But his hands are molded in his skin tone, which you can't really see that on camera right there. But they're molded in his skin tone, so if you really wanted to, you could shave down these pads and then take some acetone to it and make these just skin tone so he doesn't have the red coming down past his hands. But I'm also curious because, I don't know, I'm just looking at it now, the Shazam hands from the Fury of the Gods Shazam. Let's see, if I take off his hand, because the hands are pretty easy to switch out. They're just like a standard peg here. But I wonder if these will fit on here, because if they do, let's see, behind the camera, maybe? Yep, they actually, oh wow, they do. Cool. Oh, I actually kind of like that. Hold on, let's put them both on here. Let's pop off his other hand, slap on the Shazam hand. There we go. His right side's a little loose, but like, that looks pretty good. So if you wanted to have him just straight up classic Jay Garrick, I think this looks pretty good actually. And these are kind of like running hands or lightning throwing hands that you could do, but I like this. This is pretty neat. Why is this side tighter than this one? What am I doing wrong here? It's not pushed on all the way? Okay, it was. But I actually kind of like this. I don't know, he might stay like that. I do like these hands though. I like the touch of modern, so if you want to put him with your Justice League, since we don't really have a good Flash figure from McFarlane yet, which I don't know why. I hope we get one. I hope they use like the Deadman, Blue Beetle, Booster Gold body for a Flashpoint Flash from this build wave that we're getting. Because if we get a Flash and Reverse Flash in that on those bodies, oh man, those figures are going to be awesome. But I don't know. Just me personally, the Flash body that they've been using for Wally and Barry, something is off with it to me. I don't know. It's just not fun to handle. But this figure, though, is very fun to handle. And speaking of the things that he comes with, because I kind of got off track here, he comes with the 4 lightning effects that we've seen with every other Flash figure. They're kind of weird and oily. Not sure what's going on with that. But pulling in closer to take a look at the detail, the only problem that this figure has for me is there's like a weird kind of like circle here on the plastic, but you don't really notice it in normal lighting. One thing I have noticed that a lot of people complain about is that the head size, his head's a little small. But I personally don't mind it. I think it's okay, just because of the fact that all McFarlane figures are kind of like that. They all kind of have like strange proportions, so it doesn't really bother me. Like, as long as they're consistent across each other, I don't care, you know? And with the head being smaller, you could honestly probably make a Marvel Legends scale like Jay Garrick if you really wanted to. But I really like this head sculpt, and I think that it kind of looks like Chris Evans, like a little animated Chris Evans, which is really cool, which I could definitely see him as Jay Garrick, by the way. I think that would be pretty cool. But something else with this figure that I didn't really realize until I got him next to some other figures, his suit is kind of orange. It's not really red. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but like if I bring in my custom Flash right here real quick, which uses that Page Puncher's Flash, this is the red, and then his red's a lot lighter. It's almost an orangish, which you don't really realize it until you get it next to a figure that actually full-on has red on him. But I don't know. It doesn't bother me that much. And I do like that there is a difference in color, but I just kind of wish that it was a little bit deeper of a red. I'm glad that it's not as faded as the Shazam, though, because the Shazam, the gold label comic Shazam, that figure, I hate that figure. That red on that is so faded, it looks like it was left out in the sun for like 6 months. So, but I also like the baby blue. I think this just looks very classic for Jay. It's really cool. I think the colors are very nice because it kind of gives me this Mafex Spider-Man vibe of like, oh, it's the classic red and blue, and then we got classic red and blue for this J, which is really nice. I like it. His lightning bolt is painted very well. It is sculpted on. It looks good. His belt is also, and then he's got the boots and of course the wings, both on his helmet and the boots. And the boots actually have some kind of straps type things going on. They have just like a little bit of a modern flair to it, and I think that's really cool because, like I said, you can put it in with your Justice League that we are ever slowly building that will never finish because we're never going to get a classic Wonder Woman or a modern Wonder Woman. Basically, we're never going to get a normal Wonder Woman, and I don't know why, and it pisses me off because I love Wonder Woman and we need a Wonder Woman, but it's fine. Well, let's now go over articulation, and I have not modified this figure or anything yet. So his head can go up that far. Not bad for running poses. Definitely could be better, though. It'll be better after a modification. Head can look down that far. Tilt. Rotate, of course, naturally. Shoulders go out that far. He's got butterfly joints, so his arm can go that far over. Butterfly joint, or bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows that go up all the way, which is awesome. Standard McFarlane joints at the hands. Basically, if you have a McFarlane figure, you know what you're getting, but range-wise, can only go that far forward, that far back. Rotate, you know, swivel at both joints. His legs go out. Actually, I could probably push it a lot more than that. There you go. They can go out all the way, which is pretty awesome. It's always good for a Flash figure. Can go forward, and it doesn't really jut out either. It juts out a little bit, but not too terribly much, so that's good whenever you get him into a running pose. He's not going to be, you know, kind of to the side like this. A little bit of swivel up there at that thigh joint. A couple jointed knees that go back that far. No boot swivel or anything, but standard joints at the ankles, and of course, toe pivot. And now onto some size comparisons. Here he is next to the Sentinel Peter Parker Spider-Man and the 20th anniversary Captain America. And I kind of wish that Jay's colors were a little bit more in line with this cap. I think that would be really cool. But I do like the light blue. I think the baby blue is pretty good on Jay. I think that's like very classic for him. But I wish that red was just more red, you know? And something else that I didn't even point out is that right here on his arms are big, by the way. They actually have like it looks like his clothes are stretching to go over his muscles, which is pretty cool. Clark's kind of kicking out to the side here, but here he is next to the Mafex Hush Superman and the Mezco Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil, and I think this looks good as well. You definitely can make this work. I know it obviously just takes a lot of trick of the camera because the McFarlane stuff obviously is 7-inch, and this stuff is more true 6-inch scale, if not a little higher. I do wish that, there are times that I really do wish that McFarlane was 6-inch scale, because it would just be so cool, some of the picture ideas, but you can still do the picture ideas. I'm just glad that it's not like a 5-inch line or like an 8-inch line, you know, like a line that just would not work no matter how you tried to do the camera work. And then for a tease and a Flash family comparison, here he is next to the Mr. Freeze, which I will be reviewing next, and then the Wallace West Kid Flash, which I think this looks pretty good. I'm not too unhappy with this. I mean, obviously Wally's kind of leaning back just a tiny bit, and he's on that stand because it helps him stand, because that body is just, it's not great. I don't like that body. I don't know what it is. This is the only good Flash figure that we've gotten, in my opinion. I mean, this one's not bad, this custom one that I made, but obviously it's custom, you know. So we just have, like, in stock form, we have really not gotten a good Flash, in my opinion. Overall, I really do like this Jay. He's really good. I think that if you're a big fan of the Flash in terms of just, you know, whether it's Barry Allen, Jay Garrick, Wally, Wallace, whichever Flash you're a fan of, I think that it's Jay Garrick. You need him. If you're even a little bit of a fan of the Flash family, you can't not have Jay Garrick. He was the first Flash, you know? You gotta have him. And I think he photographs very well. Sometimes on camera, though, I don't know what it is about McFarlane figures. Like, it's always happening. They're good figures, and I'm messing around with them, and I'm posing them and all that stuff, and they're standing well and everything, and then I get them in front of the camera, and they just want to fall over, and I'm like, why? Why are you guys like this? I'm trying to, like, just shove it down people's throats that McFarlane makes good stuff. I don't know why people don't understand that. They're like, oh, the figures are ugly. No, you have bad taste. But, hey, you know, that is what it is. But this Jay, the only gripes that I really have, and the gripes that I think people definitely could have, are the knees being a different kind of plastic. So the color match is fine, but that texture very much pops on his knees. But I'm, you know, choosing to believe in my brain, oh yeah, it's just knee pads. It's fine. He has knee pads. It's making the texture on the pants, you know, pop more. And then the head being a little small. I definitely know a lot of people would be upset about that and kind of turned off by that. But it doesn't bother me. Like I said, a lot of the McFarlane stuff is very proportionally unsound, let's say. So I don't know why I didn't just say disproportionate. That was just so, I couldn't think of the word disproportionate. Wow, all right. But I would love to get a classic Dr. Fate and a Wildcat and an Alan Scott Green Lantern. I want the JSA. I desperately would love to have a McFarlane, like, you know, classic, but with like a splash of modern JSA. I think that would be really cool. And like I was saying before, you know, if you have the Shazam or like any hands that you want to put on him that are just, you know, like these, I think probably match up the best in terms of skin tone. I may put these on this J and leave them because I like the modern with like the guards coming down and the sleeves coming down, but that classic look where he's just got his bare hands, whoo, that looks good. I like it. And thankfully, out of the box, his wings and stuff on his boots and his helmet, you know, are fine. But I would say be careful with those because they take a shelf dive, could bend and break off. But they are, you know, pretty pliable, so it should be okay. But always, you know, just be careful. Yeah, I mean, that's all I can say about this figure. It's a great figure. If you're a fan of Jay Garrick or if you're a fan of the Flash family, you got to have it. Or if you just like good figures, because the McFarlane stuff, they don't disappoint. They really don't. There are some that do. Don't get me wrong. There are some, but it's very few and far between. So, yeah, it's going to do it for me, and I will catch you all in the next one. See ya.